And welcome back once again to Everyman Driver. I am your host, Dave Erickson. Thanks so much for watching. This week we're behind the wheel of the 2014 Lexus RX, a mid-size luxury SUV that comes in 3 trim levels. You have the 50, the 350 F Sport, which we have here, and the 450 Hybrid. Coming up today, we'll talk about the ride and handling, the backseat legroom and headroom, cargo volume, and so much more. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We upload 2 to 3 new videos each and every week, and I don't want you to miss anything. All right, let's get started by popping the hood. My tester is powered by a 3.5 liter V6 engine mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. You can get a 6-speed automatic or a CVT. I recommend going with the 8-speed automatic if you can. This kicks out 270 horses, 248 pound-feet of torque, so it's got some power behind the wheel. And estimated fuel economy is 18 city, 26 highway. I've put well over 300 miles on it this week, and I've been averaging 21.5, so I'm pretty happy with that. Here's a look at your real-world legroom and headroom here in the back of the RX, and I got to tell you right now, this is a fairly comfortable place to be. I'm 5'11", and this was my position as a driver here up front. And I got plenty of room between my knees and the back of the seat, even with this rear seat DVD entertainment system here in front of me, which I think is pretty cool. Plenty of storage for cup holders, one here in the door, also over in the passenger door, and you can even pull down this armrest, and you'll find 2 more cup holders, which is pretty cool. And in this armrest is also headphones and a remote control for the entertainment system. Headroom is pretty good here. There's an indent in the ceiling, which is nice. You have the sunroof up front, but not one back here, which I personally would like to have. Otherwise, storage here behind the driver and passenger seat. You've got 4 blank handles all the way around, leather interior, which is nice. And one of the nicest features back here, in my opinion, is this 40-20-40 reclining and sliding back seat. So you can give yourself a little bit more comfort back here, which I think is great. I mean, take a road trip, lean back, relax, maybe have a movie in front, and just take in the sights and sounds of this Lexus RX. There are 3 ways to open the liftgate here of the Lexus RX. There's a button just left of the steering wheel. There's a button here on the key fob. Press and hold that, it'll come up. Otherwise, there's a button just below the Lexus icon. I press that, and up it comes as well. And when you're done, there's a button to press on top of the liftgate that goes down automatically too. So when you walk away, hands-free. So behind this second row of seats is 40 cubic feet of volume, which is fantastic. They've got a cargo net right here, which is extra, and also a protective visor. I'll take those out, and I'll show you some more flexibility that you have back here. Pretty decent amount of space here in the back of the Lexus for plenty of larger and taller boxes, which is I like. Also, just below the floorboard, there's a small spot here for some other items if you like, plus a spare tire and jack kit just below there. Now, we can fold these seats down, as I mentioned before, 40-20-40 split, and create 80 cubic feet of volume. This looks enormous, both the height and the width for cargo volume. You can definitely put some big, large plastic bins back here, some bicycles, boxes, camping equipment, you name it. This vehicle will handle it all. Personally, I like this F Sport front bumper and spindle grille. Very identifiable when you're driving down the road. You know this is a Lexus. It also has 7, count them 7, LED daytime running lamps right there, plus automatic xenon HID headlamps. And just in case you're wondering, Nebula Gray Pearl is the exterior color. We also have here 19-inch aluminum alloy wheels. There is so much technology available here in the cabin of the RX. It's a little bit overwhelming, but something I think you can get used to. You've got the steering wheel mounted controls, Bluetooth technology options. Here's where you have those paddle shifters on the back side of the steering wheel. You've got heated controls, climate controls for both the driver and the passenger, even heated and cooled front seats, which I really like. The only thing that really seems out of place or a little bit difficult to get used to, even after a week of using this, is this little mouse dial right here, which controls the LCD screen. Actually, it moves on the screen and you can press it that way. I'm not so sure about that. It seems to be a bit distracting when I'm driving down the road. I'd rather just have a few buttons so I can navigate that way. So there is a little bit of a challenge in that aspect. The instrument cluster is pretty clear and easy to understand as well, and lots of information to take in. And that heads-up display is a nice feature as well, keeping your eyes safely on the road. That way you're not distracted by looking down. Depends on how fast you're going. So I do like that heads-up display, and you can turn it off if you like. In terms of safety options, for an extra $500 on my tester, we do have blind spot monitoring, so that's a nice thing to have. There's also a feature in here for parking, so if you get close to something on either ends of your bumpers, front or back, you can set it to alert you if you are getting too close, so I do like that as well. I did contemplate going off-road because this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, but I decided to hold off until we have some better conditions, or at least some more challenging conditions at our ORV park. But you do have traction control and you can lock and unlock the differential. So this is a vehicle that can go off-road if you want to. I probably wouldn't though. As far as ride and handling, I gotta be honest, I've only driven a handful of Lexus vehicles, but each time I walk away, I feel satisfied, but I think that Lexus badge adds on a few extra $1,000 that probably aren't necessary. This vehicle, though, has a good combination of a family-style practicality, a car-like feel overall, and comfort, especially in maneuverability. I don't feel like I'm in an SUV whatsoever. It feels like it's a nice car that's a little bit raised up. And the steering wheel, a little bit on the light side to me, fluid, but light. And handling around corners has been, again, car-like, but there is some security behind the wheel going around corners. I'm not going to do a 0 to 60 run today, but I will give you an acceleration test right now. We are going 30 miles per hour. We are on a country road. Let's give it a little bit of a punch and see what happens. There is a huge lag after I hit the gas. It stayed around 1,500 RPM and then jumped to 4,000, but only after a couple of seconds. So that huge horsepower and torque, it's there, but you kind of have to wait for it. One thing that has surprised me is the road noise in here. It's not super distracting, but I'm surprised, being a Lexus, that they wouldn't have more sound deadening technology in here to keep that engine sound from creeping inside the cabin. You know, I can close the sunroof a little bit, and it makes a small difference, but not a lot. So that is one thing that does surprise me. Here's something I wasn't sure that I'd like, but I end up liking, is this shift knob and how it's positioned here in the center stack. It's on an angle, but it's not really high up to where it feels like it's out of place. It's a good spot where my elbow hits the armrest, my hand comes down, and I'm holding it just right there. This is pretty cool, especially since I have this option of going Shifttronics, of going up and down to shift on the fly. I do like that. Now, some of the vehicles that compete with the Lexus RX in 2014 include the BMW X5, the Infiniti QX60, as well as the Acura MDX. Now, the MDX and the QX60 have 3 rows of seats, so that kind of puts this car at a disadvantage. But when it comes to overall cargo volume compared to those, I think this fits around 2nd or 3rd place. Otherwise, everything else is pretty equal with the fuel economy, price point, and the engine available for horsepower and torque and so on. The MSRP on my tester today is around $47,000, but I also have blind spot monitoring, navigation, the entertainment system you saw in the back seat, cargo net, a few other things. So when it's all said and done, this car is closer to $56,000. A little bit spendy, but it is worth a look, and most certainly, and as always, a test drive. Until next time, I'm Dave Erickson with Everyman Driver. Thanks for watching.